an incredible day of games so far, and we are not done with the action just yet. The Giants of Liquid are taking on Chaos in our final series of the day, and it is shaping up to be a huge one. Joining me for all the action are, of course, the wonderful Potter and Maui Snake. Now, Maui, that first series of NA, that delivered on every single level. Are you expecting the same coming into this one?
I would hope so, actually. It's a new look for Liquid, and Chaos, let's not forget, the last time that they faced off against Liquid, they beat them at Masters. So this should be a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, a rivalry is running riot indeed. What about you, Potter? These two teams, I'm very excited to see.
I'm so excited. I mean, the brain of Steel, now that he has a solidified team, every time I've talked about Steel and Chaos this year, it's always filled with, well, he's suffered roster changes, he's just lost his star player. Now, not only have we had a long player break, we've had a lot of months, a lot of cushion for Steel to be able to kind of work his squad and figure out that winning formula. So I'm excited to see what the 200 IQ Steel brings to this series.
It's going to be a spicy one indeed. And of course, we want to hear what you guys are thinking in Twitch chat. Make sure you are voting down below for your favorite team to be winning. Use hashtag Liquid if you want the North American boys to be going through. And of course, Chaos if you want that side to be succeeding. And I think we need to start off with the Liquid side because there has been a load of huge news about them recently. I'm going to start off with the obvious one, Grim coming onto this roster in replacement of Nitro. And Maui, we really saw him turn up in the first series here at DreamHack Open.
Yeah, Grim is such an incredible talent that has been budding in the North America scene for quite a while now. I think we have to add in the fact that Moses on top of Grim, just how that dynamic can actually work out for this team, how much fire it can light for the side of Liquid. It's just a new look. Stewie has been the moral leader for this team for quite a while now, but Moses brings that kind of energy. He brings that kind of fire, and with a firepower such as with Grim added to the lineup, it's actually a new explosive team. The way that they showed up against the Pug Gods was actually just crazy. The way that Grim was just flying at his opponents, it was just relentless aggression coming out from him. And I know that Moses is going to be completely unleashing him here today.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm back, guys. I was just saying about Grim, it's 108 ADR for him over both of the maps when we saw them face the Pug Gods. And that's kind of interesting because we just saw the Pug Gods playing, and I'm wondering what you kind of gained from that matchup, Potter, because it was a huge showing for Grim.
It was. And Grim, it seems like he's already at an advantage, right? I spoke about it a little bit on that first day, the confidence that he just inherently is going to get by being on just the upgraded squad, upgraded teammates, upgraded coach, upgraded organization. Now Grim is really set up for success. He's got all the tools, everything he needs, all the resources to be able to set him up for that. And as Maui alluded to, Moses coming into this squad, the Liquid we talk about when we talk about this team, it's never a lack of firepower. It's never a lack of strategy or ideas. It's always the mental. Where are these players? How are they going to utilize each other? How are they going to work off of each other? Because when you have a little bit of too much of a good thing, sometimes that's the biggest struggle, is figuring out how to actually use all the tools that you have at your disposal. So I think Moses coming in here, he's going to try to use his brain to figure that one out as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I'm very excited to see what he's going to be bringing to the server. But before we do that, we have to check in with some of our players from the Liquid side.
Yeah, first game here in DreamHack Open was with the Pug Gods over the weekend on Saturday. I actually wasn't even really involved in that matchup whatsoever. That was kind of when we were still finalizing details of this switch over to Liquid to coach. But look, from what I saw, I got to tune into a couple of the maps, and from what I saw, it was just a coming out party for Grim.
That doesn't get punished fully, and here comes Grim. swinging the sight from the
first time I stepped in with the team to do practice was actually just yesterday. On Monday was my first like full-time practice with the team. You know, still very early, still a lot to learn on exactly how we want to approach things, how they want, you know, the coaches to be interacting with the team, but it's an exciting first step to take for sure.
Flying Twist, all feeling the brunt of it, but Twist just rips straight out and gets 2 headshots before Zelsis and Cooper put down 2 of their own. It's the 3v3, but now the T's are starting to struggle. They're being submerged. Twist picks up his third and his 4th kill. He has 4 HP left, but the quad's there, and there's the ace as well. Oh my god.
I mean, listen, my prediction on, obviously I'm going to take Team Liquid. Obviously I'm going to take, you know, it's weird predicting yourself to win. But, you know, I have all the confidence in the guys to be able to overcome Chaos. I will say I have the utmost respect in the world for Steel and for Josh and what he's consistently able to do. It's something that, you know, in practice yesterday I mentioned, you know, don't take Chaos lightly tomorrow. You know, that's a solid team and they have got a lot of upset potential. So let's not relax against them at all.
We get to hear from the man of the hour himself is, of course, Moses. And Christine, he's bringing up those points that you were already alluding to about that mental game going in. And I feel like sometimes that has haunted Liquid in past matches.
Yeah, it definitely has. And I think Jason describing Steel still being a good showman. I think as he kind of evolves into that coaching role, maybe his approach of how he describes his opponents will change. You know, I want to see a little bit more shit talking thrown into the mix there. But yeah, I mean, of course, we have to put all the respect towards Steel because of all of the progress that he's made with all these young NA talents. And for Liquid, that mental game, I mean, we're going to see exactly here how much effect Moses has on only a day and a half. I don't even know if it's been a full 24 hours yet since the last time Moses stepped into the server and actually had a full-on practice with Liquid. So it's going to be interesting to see the differences. I'm not sure that we're actually going to see that here today, but I'm going to be keeping my eye out for it.
I'm hoping we'll get a few sprinkles of Moses within this matchup. But of course, they have got to be taking on Chaos in this first one. We were mentioning it earlier. Obviously, Steel really is the man of the hour when we're speaking about this team. Maui, he's going to have to come out with some brilliant plays to be going up against the juggernauts of Liquid in this matchup.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The only thing that Chaos has really going for them here is the fact that they have a little bit of roster consistency. Leaf and Jonji both joining within the last couple of months, and since then they've had a stable roster. And like Christine said earlier, the main kind of exception you always have to give, or the excuse for Chaos, was just that, oh man, they just lost this player, or oh, they have to play with their coach this time. It always felt like there was something that was holding Chaos back, and finally they have a couple of months under their belt. They've been working as a team together now. They should have a system in place thanks to Steel and MCE, and I'm sure Vanity is bringing something to the table as well, as he was previously an in-game leader for E United. So there's a lot of minds at work here, and hopefully they've gelled nicely together, and they've incorporated players like Leaf, Jonji, and Zeppa, all great talents in the North American scene, but can they compete with Grim is the real question for me.
That is the big question indeed, and I kind of want to unpack Chaos a little bit more, because obviously we saw them doing pretty good at the CS Summit RMR. Maui, you were obviously there. What did you kind of make of them at this tournament?
Ooh, Chaos. I only caught a little bit of them. I saw Christine was on the North American broadcast actually a lot more, whereas I was covering the EU. But they did, MCE actually held his own in a way in some of the matches that I did see that did impress me. They didn't do as well as they probably would have if they had Steel, given that it was an RMR event, but they still had some of their systems in place. I like the way that they always took map control. It felt like they had some pretty safe procedures, but sometimes in the late round situations, when it's your coach versus one of your star player IGLs, it's always going to be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, and I think we kind of need to unpack their match, obviously, against Triumph, who now are no longer in the competition. That was an incredibly dominant win from Chaos on that side, and I really want to unpack, what did you kind of see in that, Christine, the flares of brilliance from this Chaos side?
I guess it's got to be Jonji and Zeppa, because as you say, Freya, that match was not just a walk in the park, but what is easier than a walk in the park? I don't even know. It was like brushing your teeth in the morning. There was no thought that Chaos needed to put behind that match. A 16-2 breeze, 16-6 breeze. So definitely Chaos coming into this matchup we definitely can't expect this one to be quite as easy as that, obviously. But I'm looking at Genji and Zeppa. I think these two absolutely are set up for success on multiple times. Zeppa, he seems to have a second gear in a lot of those weird scenarios where he's in a pickle and he has to find insane, incredible headshots to be able to get himself out of it. And he does it more often than not. So I'm excited to see how Zeppa transitions into such a bigger challenge in Liquid.
Well, yeah, we were speaking a lot about Steel earlier, so I think it's now apt to check in with him ahead of this matchup.
The overkill chaos. Content.
Yeah, our first game against Triumph, it felt like all of us were hitting our strides, and by all of us, I mean a few of us, where like pretty much everything that could go right for us did go right for us. If we're able to replicate what we did against Triumph to other teams, I feel like if we find that consistency, then we would be kind of up there in the top North American teams. I don't think this game against Liquid will be an easy win. I think it's winnable. I mean, I guess they went through some sort of like identity crisis and they were changing roles. They changed IGL, they changed who the Opera is, they changed positions on the map. And they're bringing in Grim, who is basically like a human aimbot. It's by no means like they got worse or better, but because they are in a transition phase, it might mean that they're not as strong as they could be. It's going to be interesting to see kind of like how loose versus structured they're going to be playing, because I don't feel like they have had a lot of time to actually do a lot of stuff. So they're going to be reliant fully on like individual performances. And when you look at like the roster of Liquid, everyone agrees like they have a really scary looking lineup, but we have beaten them before. There's no reason why we can't do it again. Not that it's going to be easy.
Down goes the op. Junior's gonna get stabbed if he's not careful. Knives are out. Shang glass.
A human aimbot is how Steel describes Grim there, so they're definitely being cautious coming into this matchup. But before we jump into it, we of course have got to find out what maps we are going to be playing on. What are you guys kind of expecting coming out of this veto?
I'm hoping that Steel picks Nuke. Oh, he's going to go with the Mirage. I had either Nuke or Mirage that he's going to pick. Mirage, it's his comfort pick. Steel always tends to lean into either that Inferno or this Mirage. So actually, both of these maps should be pretty straightforward for Chaos.
Yeah, I actually like this veto for Chaos as well. I think these are maps that they're quite comfortable on. Inferno is all right for Liquid, but even ZPG showed a little bit of life against them on that map. Dazzle had a couple big clutches that made Liquid look a little bit foolish at times. So if Chaos can replicate some of the success that they had against Triumph and, you know, maybe pull off a couple of upsets in rounds, maybe take away a couple that they probably shouldn't have because of their chemistry in late round situations, this could be a pretty interesting matchup.
Yeah, and this perfectly leads into our prediction. Alex, I'm going to start off with you first. Who are you siding with?
I still have to go with Liquid. Despite everything I've said about Chaos and how great Zeppa is and Jonji is, Liquid is just so strong. They're so experienced top to bottom.
What about you, Potter?
I'm also going to go with Liquid here. I don't think it's as clear cut as a lot of people might think. I think Inferno, we saw Stewie struggling just a little bit on that map. So hopefully he turns things around. I'm waiting for Steel to capitalize on this moment and win this series though.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be getting into it. Indeed, I am going to be siding with Liquid, but I do think it has the potential to go to the full 3 maps, especially because we saw that veto playing out. Let's take a look at our Twitch chat poll predictions to see exactly where the fans are lying. 82% going in favor of Team Liquid, rather. And I'm hoping they do not disappoint. We're going to be jumping into this final best of 3 series of the day. This is going to determine who goes straight to the semi-finals and who falls to face against the gods, and we're getting into it after this.
Welcome back to the DreamHack Open Summer 2020 North American Edition with myself, Strawny, and Vince. And we've got a great game at hand, but right before we jump into it, I do think it's worth taking a note to just appreciate Jason Moses O'Toole. It's a big hit to the broadcast world to lose our colleague, and I think I speak for casters and fans alike when I say, Moses, you're going to be missed, my man. He's not dead, Vince. Of course, he's alive and kicking and coaching Team Liquid to what he claims will be our second major. That's an idea I can get behind, and it could be a long and windy road, but that road begins here today with a BO3 versus Chaos.
Indeed, paving the way one brick at a time. And Team Liquid starting on the T side. Not anything slow about this. Getting into apps early on, but so is Zeppa. He is taking the initiative. One of those power players has been pincered, pivoted, and punched down. And now Grim, after a phenomenal debut, maybe a point to prove that it wasn't a one-off. The human aimbot, as Steel coined him, is already connected onto Steel. And that will open up business for B side. Leaf, try as he may with the P2000 at range, unable to get any kills for his troubles, and now a post-plant falls upon us. John G going to be joining the aforementioned youngster, who is trying his damnedest to get some frags, but just nothing comes up for him. And it seems like it's going to be a clean sweep. Liquid make a statement. 1-0 lead.
Big statement. Grim 2 kills, and like you said, he had a phenomenal debut. Just completely took over the series. Now we get Liquid's second matchup, and they have a member of their forces also making another debut. It seems like they're kind of taking over the show, but if they can convincingly crush Chaos, then I think the show is theirs all the way to the finals, where maybe Furia awaits. Time will tell. What's important is, of course, we have the force from Chaos. That second scout between Vanity and Steel, upgraded pistols, and smokes to slow things down.
Anticipating a fairly close game here. So I'm hoping that Chaos can deliver on that promise. Leaf tagged up horrendously low, and Grim goes in, and it's Steel again. His arch nemesis, it would appear. Good work. And I do wonder as well, you know, Scrawny, Grim's a young man, has an exceptional debut. The hype builds. You saw all these Reddit threads, all of these heaps of praise put on top of him. And I just wonder if that could maybe have a negative impact, that like the hype will precede him. He'll start to feel like there's a bit of pressure there for him to deliver each game, and maybe a victim of his own success if things don't work out. But we're not gonna have to worry about that in this round, at least. Liquid looking like they're pretty solidly locked in for a 2-0 lead to start things off.
I think there's validity to what you have to say. I think some people, some human beings, Vince, because we're all different in our own ways, would fall victim to that kind of stuff. But what from what I know of Grim, and from what I've heard from people who know him closer than I do, he's just an incredibly humble human being. And he's a very hard worker. And I think that being humble and being focused are the two kind of characteristics that can keep you out of that slippery, egotistic slope that would have Grim thinking he is the savior of North America. I think he is just starting in his mind. You know, all of the effort, think about all of the hours of Counter-Strike across all of the different iterations of teams that he's played on. And now it only begins with Team Liquid. So this is the culmination of all of his hard work. And I would be so disappointed if he does fall the way of the egotistic rockstar. But maybe Grim will show up to LAN, studded out in Gucci, glasses on, diamond-encrusted mice. Who knows, Vince? But I just don't see it in him. I think Grim's the real deal. If he can keep his head down and work hard, and again, with Moses behind him, that's just going to help. You've got somebody else who's going to keep players honest. And all the while, here's the other side of this coin, because I had this similar conversation with Maui in the green room. And that is, sometimes Grim can maybe almost be a little too humble, maybe not believe in himself enough. And I can guarantee you that when you have the likes of Stewie2K in your ear, you are going to be pushed to be the best version of yourself. You're gonna get fired up, because if you're hitting headshots, Stewie's gonna let you know you are a god amongst men. And that is, again, just a nice thing to have next to him. It's one moment where, you know, if you look to your left and Junior tells you, good job, man, you're the best damn player I've ever been next to. What if that's Stewie2K? What if that's a major winner? You know, Grim's in a great position to continue succeeding. And I think it comes as a result of being the biggest success story of our return to online Counter-Strike. Look, all the fans agree. Look at these guys. Stephanie CS, he's with me. Derv Guy, JLTU over there. Not you, Yonkers99, not you.
Oof. Straight up sassed on.
Hey, Voltage in the chat. What's up, buddy? That's one of Grim's old teammates, absolutely. You know, he's got the support, Vince. He's got the support around him because this, as I said, has been a long road. And so, long live Grim.
Yeah, the other cool aspect of that as well, if Grim is a pretty sort of chill, passive, maybe even humble guy, sometimes you can live vicariously through your hype man. As you said, if Stewie's just coming out here and saying, man, you're a god, you're amazing, you don't necessarily have to stand into the spotlight. You can live off of that praise from someone that you respect. And I'll also say something else. A lot of people out there may not realize, because, you know, you hear Moses has been put into the coaching role. We both worked with him a lot, but also I've worked with him and seen how he handles himself around kind of upcoming casters and being a shoulder for them to lean on and vent on at times. This is a guy that is going to be an exceptional good coach when it comes to man management, if nothing else. And I think players like Grim are really going to be built with Jason's just kind of leadership and guys. Yeah. He's not like the most overbearing kind of guy that's going to scream in your face, but he's going to be the kind of guy that demands respect, not from him personally, but he has that aura about him. People naturally respect Jason, and I can see this lineup doing exactly the same.
Sure. We've got a tech issue that's going to survive maybe another minute and a half, so I think I can continue on this trend, Vince. Having, you know, made my moves through CS casting and having come up alongside Jason, you know, one of the first events I ever worked with him, Northern Arena, Montreal. Just to give you, you know, again, another example of the kind of person that he is, I would say that it's not necessarily that hold on, I want to say this correctly. He will never tell you that he is going to be the reason that you can, you know, step forward. He is not the solution for Grim to succeed, but he will absolutely convince Grim that he can do it himself, and that if he needs somebody to lean on, Jason will be there. Moses is a helping hand and has been a key pillar to the Counter-Strike community, most notably in North America. So the fact that we get to talk about him as a coach, I think is just as exciting as kind of the time that Yanko ditched us to go join the players' side of this industry. And again, you know, it takes a hit, but you just know that somebody who had worked hard enough to get to the very top of a very competitive casting scene is sure as hell going to put all of that effort right into his players. And the fact that Grim is so fresh off the press, I like that, because like you said, it's not an overbearing presence when it comes to Moses. It's a very helpful demeanor. Stewie 2K doesn't need to be told he can be the best. He already knows that, and he believes it. Same can be said for Naf and Elysian Twist. But maybe Grim just needs that other new guy. You know, you're not coming in as one fresh face. There's two pieces to this fresh liquid, and that could bode very well for them. But we turn, I would say, the attention over to Chaos. All right, Vince, let's do it this way. You maybe not have had you maybe haven't had the chance to hang out with Steel all too often, but I would say there are tons of similarities to be drawn between him and Moses. And Steel still plays. That's the difference. Jason knew he was washed up. We're back live into the game. Thank you guys for your patience. The technical pause concludes, and we'll see if Chaos with one scout has anything to say about it.
I love that. You build him up just to rip him down at the end.
He would do the same.
Oh, he absolutely would. He'd actually find that hilarious. All right, Liquid, let's go. What do you have in store? Early kill coming in. Chaos could feasibly put a bit of pain down. A tag from Vanity Scout is only going to weaken Grim, but not finish him off. And now John G does get the bomb down. That's a significant frag, especially if we can build upon that. But Grim and the Liege say no. They refuse to go down, and they take a 3-0 lead, but here comes a buy.
This is what we're waiting for, seeing whether Chaos can turn this one around. You know, there's no doubt in my mind that Chaos could make this series difficult, but there's also a part of me that knows Liquid should completely chew through this caliber of opponent. You know, if the stars align, if the Zeppa and the Leaf performance that we know can exist, if Jonji's clutch factor and hard entries can also play into this, if Vanity keeps himself cool, and Steel, again, I would say big clutch factor on him, everybody, I think, can see the ingredients. Whether it comes together or burns on the stovetop is the question that we have a beautiful best of 3 to find out. But let's focus on the micro. First gun round. Jonji gets smoked out of window. He's got players down beneath him. And it's very clear and concise to me that Team Liquid, they want this mid control to start their Mirage on T side.
Tasty grenade damage early on. Chaos. Yeah, Grim and Elige with those HEs. Smoke deployed down into connector, going to give some free passage to Stewie, and Elige perched up on the catwalk. Just making sure that Ladder Room has no pesky CTs about to wide swing into him, but you can see how effortlessly Liquid are moving out into middle and getting a lot of map control, and albeit with Stewie's death and a solid peek in, Steel comes in with the M4. Twist, the only player that's answered back so far for the T's. But now he's going to be joined alongside Natfly, and they still have the bomb, plus a second kill. Steel found fragged, and with 25 seconds to go, Twist's going to take the initiative and play up close with his AK, as if he gets a third kill from that, and is still alive to tell a tale. Catches Leaf with a grenade out, and now Chaos suddenly, look at a 1v2. Oh my god, that clutch is massive. Liquid have a 4K on Twist, and a 4-0 lead.
Yeah. Let you be reminded, Chaos are not the better individuals on the server today. Twist coming hot off the player break, fresh-faced and deadly as ever. The beauty of that, of course, is, look at Steel, who was pinned behind that arch. Twist just pre-firing every little possible angle, knowing eventually he's going to connect those shots. He has such little HP as well to work with after the fact that for him to cut down another 2 players off Cat, finding Leaf with a grenade in hand, because Leaf thinks a guy on 5 health would never peek me, right? Maybe with what you're used to, buddy, but this is Team Liquid. Jonji, nice scout shot. Excellent timing on that one, but Twist, he's found himself a response over towards A ramp. Stewie, he's going to get pushed by Zeppa, and the lesser weaponry falls short. 4 versus 2 with just the scout on Jonji, although these CTs are in the right positions.
In the right positions, but maybe not with the firepower to supplement. A 2v4 in their favor this time around, trying to return the favor from the round gone by. Grim caught in the back, spins around to check out window, and will be punished by the Vanity. Second player though in this equation for the CTs. Jonji hasn't tried to curb this away from a 5-0 lead, but it's looking more and more likely with every bullet, every second passing by his head. And now Liquid will take that 5-0. They keep 3 players alive. Their economy is looking sharp. And Chaos, they're going to have a bye, but they need to start converting some of these into round wins.
Okay, I'm raising the red flag on the play, man. Twists. This might be one of those days for him. He is just shooting at anything that moves. Just a sliver of a head over top of Ticket, and he's just pounding rounds against the boxes near it. If he thinks he knows where you are, he's going to play it like it is. And that is a deadly version of Twists. Jonji connects the op shot. Vanity does the exact same thing. Leaf then a 3rd kill. This is a 2 versus 5 attempt. And Stewie 2K, true to his name, gets a double before going down. But Chaos quickly quells it. And Chaos are on the board now.
And it's a good round at that. They kept 3 players alive, dropping one of the weapons away. They can get a very solid purchase. It's always the worry when you come down to a significant deficit to start things off on the CT side. You know that not only do you have to win rounds, not only do you have to string them together, but you have to keep surplus cash on the board. There's so many plates that you have to spin simultaneously, and they've kept most of them up. It's only Steel that could come crashing down with the MP9. Liquid taking a little bit of damage to start off the round, but they have slowed down the pace. Not as aggressive into apps or ramp, and you can see that Chaos are making the most of that. Zeppa pushing through there with Leaf. They decide to keep Zeppa going in. He may come head-to-head with Nafly sooner rather than later, who is watching for this flank. But meanwhile, there's another fight kicking off in Biaps, and Nafly catches Zeppa. He turns around to check Palace at exit point, and in doing so, he forfeits his back and his life.
Liege will remain headhunting in mid, setting the smokes for the underpass players to make their move. Stu and Twists and Liege. Just saying those three names out loud strikes fear in my heart, Vince. I can't manage or imagine how Chaos will manage, rather. Leaf, 1 kill, 6 deaths. Meant to be the opposite star. I love the play. Sits inside of the smoke, gets the one. Liege, he was wary of it. And Stewie 2K wasted no time extending into jungle, but he didn't quite catch Jonji. Maybe that timing plays to his favor, but the fact that it's another 4v2 does not bode well. He emerges through the smoke, and Grim, who had his hands busy with Bomb, isn't able to stop it. Liege dropped out of this one, but Bomb still planted, and Steel, he just hoped to walk away, but Grim, well, he follows suit, and a 6-1 score ensues.
Well, Steel commented that Liquid were going through a bit of an identity crisis as of late, with some changes in the roster, and additionally, of course, with Moses coming in. But I would say, at the moment, they feel pretty intact to me, Scrawny. They're feeling pretty solid, pretty much.
Oh, Nate,
Head in
Grim.
every single metric. Oh, Grim's wrecked, though. He's absolutely screwed. How's he still alive?
Because, Vince, the Grim Reaper fears not death. Oh. Unless it comes in the form of Zeppa's Deagle. Oh. Okay, 3 kills for Zeppa, 1-man army here. A chance at the 4th versus Nafly. Jonji, he's gonna get the kill into the underpass player. And our boy Naf, who is also 5-1, may I add, another flying start to the side of Liquid. You know, Naf does what he does. Sometimes he just falls out of the spotlight, but I think that's where he likes to be. He's like Patrick Starr, you know? Most comfortable under a rock. But once he flips it upside down, you don't know what you're going to get. Nafly, looking for the heads, has the utility to cover his bomb plant. But first, with 50 seconds to shave, why not go head hunting? Very real chance that he catches Jonji, and that would leave Vanity with just the pistol. Oh, Naf, he splits it right down the middle. And Jonji, a matter of seconds from stopping Naf in his tracks, but instead with 30 seconds left, he will plant that bomb under the cover of his own smoke, and he comes off of it ready to clutch.
Bomb's also planted from Scrawny, and he's playing this one perfectly. He has a Molotov, but there is a smoke for Vanity. The downside for Vanity is he has no Kevlar, but no kit. So it's not like he can just sneak a defuse underneath the smoke. He knows he's going to have to stick this for a while, and therefore he's looking for the frag. He guesses the angle correctly, but not enough damage. And this is where the lack of kit is a real problem. And it just goes the way of Liquid. You can see what Vanity was going for, but take nothing away from Nafly. Splitting them right down the middle, putting it into 2 separate 1v1s. It's classic Nafly, and it's such a sick play.
Yep. Cold-blooded Canadian killer, cool as a cucumber in the clutch. This kill versus Jonji could have made all of the difference. That smoke could have changed things had Vanity had a kit, but I mean, 10-second defuse, you know Naf's coming for you. Vanity posted early at the base of Connector, hoping that Liege would overextend. Not the case. Steel, the second sniper for Chaos here in the 9th. And Team Liquid, they're starting to group up for this B hit already. They've ejected out the windowsill. Steel connects to the second player. That's Grim down and the front runner removed. Jonji, good cover. Vanity's second top gets into the equation, and this is convincing. Steel moves that scope straight to the chest of Nafly. Solid, stellar showing. Chaos keeping the money alive and keeping the hopes alive as well, right with them. It's still trailing by 5 and money in abundance for Team Liquid. They'll come back in with a purchase, of course. But there's a bit of a rumbling of a comeback.
Yeah, you can hear it in the distance. It's not quite there just yet. And Chaos with the double orbs in play. get the first kill onto Nafly. It was quite a late buy as well from Liquid, almost like they're a bit disjointed whether they were going to go for a full buy or a half buy. They decide to go all in, and so far it has worked out in Chaos's favor. I will say though, even though Steel is going to get the plaudits for that round because of the slick work he had with York, Vanity was so integral. A beautiful flashbang plus an AWP frag just behind it was massive. It alleviated a lot of pressure from Steel. And now Jonji waiting, anticipating that window may get played into. And he is just on the other side of that smoke, but it's about to dissipate. And with that, Grim will get disintegrated, or perhaps not the timing for Jonji. He looks away just before it clears, and Grim spins around and takes his head off. And now Chaos may be in a little bit of trouble. They're playing top heavy towards ramp though, so Vanity will have the first pick. Twist straight away counteract, but they know the AWP is in no man's land, and now he's been suppressed by the AK of Elish, who comes in for a second, leaving Steel in a 1-on-3. And judging by his position and the fact that he has no kick, I'm expecting a save here, Scrawny.
Yeah, he's far too valuable to just throw himself away. And I expect a save attempt, perhaps, but I wouldn't be shocked if Team Liquid go chasing. Their money's also on the line, so there's a risk there, but it's Liquid. They're beating up Chaos. They can afford a risk or two, as long as it's calculated at the same time. But I figured it was a matter of time. We had good rounds from Grim. We had the big clutch off Naf. Then Twist's obviously one of the front runners, and this is the round where Elish reminds you that he's also in the server. And if Elish is your fourth player, the fourth piece of the puzzle, you're in such a prime position. Steel, he denies one of the two hunters, and the second decides to call it quits. The wounded deer gets away, Steel back in the bushes. This is Grim getting the best of Jonji in mid, and then Elish just running off at the top of the staircase. You can see it, confident as ever there, clearing out the A site and ensuring the round win. 6 points to the advantage of Team Liquid, but a double sniper setup comes right back out of Chaos, and that I like to see. Oh my god, the fire gets put out instantaneously, and so much damage. Twist and Stewie barely alive.
Yeah, there was an incendiary toss with a HE, so it actually slowed them down. The impact slowed them in that molly. So much damage, as you say. Pretty brutal start on Liquid. And although I'm right alongside with you, I love that Chaos have decided, look, double AWP's probably our best way forward. Their accountant is grimacing in the future because he knows that if they lose this round, they are screwed again. It will only be Vanity that can really afford anything. So they need to make sure this double AWP, this hefty investment, is going to pay out for them. And it's not going to be effectively buying into a fraudulent scheme. So Chaos struggling, but still perching up damage. However, Liquid haven't lost any early casualties, and this is going to expend a bit more of that utility. There's not a great deal left. There's 4 smokes for Chaos, which is great, but no incendiaries or HEs left to finish off those softer, weakened targets of Liquid. Time, though, is dwindling away, and now it seems like Liquid are going to start to make a move in connector.
Steel looks to scoop one off the back. Oh, nice kill versus Twist. One of the 2 tagged T's goes down. Steel, ooh, even catching the second one. Almost finding the leg shot through the wall as well. 20 seconds. Team Liquid leaving this one down to the wire. Jonji and Zeppa with kills each, and it gets shut out. Definitely made easier by Steel alleviating the mid pressure so that the A players weren't as hyper-focused on that side of their site. I mean, the first kill, nice. The second, if Steel dies there, I think everybody excuses him. He has fire on his feet, and it's Stu, right there in his face. So excellent showing from the captain of Chaos. That should be a Marvel superhero.
I was about to say, it sounds like a superhero villain, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't read those books.
Like, you know, you got Doctor Doom, Captain Chaos. Why not?
Vince, they have nothing. Just like that. The costs stack up. And we've got Liquid back into their measly little pistols. Zeppa opens up. Oh my goodness. Second headshot as well in the round. And this is what you're hoping for. To see the individuals of Chaos, the pieces that they're meant to fight back with. If those players can perform, then we've said this series has potential to get dangerously close. Zeppa gave us a hell of a show with the Deagle on the top of mid. This may be the anti-eco, so we can't get too excited. But at the same time, Chaos, they should not let their guards down. Good job at opening up here, but you've got 2 players somewhat tagged. You've offered an AK to Grim. This is one of those rounds where it's like, all right, new guy, what are you made of? We'll give you that AK. You've got the full HP. We're going to plant this bomb, and you're going to go huge in a 1v4 clutch. How about that? Maybe. Just maybe. He's aced on an eco round already this tournament. And they do manage to just cheat their way into the bomb site. There's the post plant now confirmed. Stewie with the deagle turns over Leaf. Heal from Cat with that off again. Grim, he cuts down the rotator and Vanity. He makes the difference. But do you see what I'm talking about, Vince? If Grim gets that second kill, if Vanity's not so sharp, then it's a legit 1v1 out of nowhere.
Yeah, legit 1v1 with the bomb planted exactly where he wants it to be from CT boxes. I mean, that's a winnable round at that point for Liquid. And even though they aren't successful in terms of winning the round, they are successful in terms of bringing a little bit of that economy down, but also allowing themselves that post plant to have a solid purchase in this. So they're going to have full AK-47s as a tactical timeout is deployed, just to make sure that they get as many rounds out of this half as possible. Still possible, of course, for an 11-4 half, which would be a phenomenal T side, but got to give credit to Chaos. It was a pretty appalling start, if we're being honest, but they've bounced back. They still have a little bit of time to go, a little bit of distance to go before they even get close to Liquid, but they're on the right path at least.
Yep. Some of these rounds that Liquid have added to the tally were close. I think that last round, and kind of what I've noticed with this double sniper setup, Steel, he has a legacy to fall on. Zeppa and Leaf, they're your new rising stars. Jonji's brought back into this roster, and his role as an entry is excellent for him. I think Vanity falls under the radar sometimes, but I see his value in a secondary sniper. He's connecting those op shots tonight. Again, kind of like Rain on FaZe. Big comparison, I know, settle down. But you don't necessarily find yourself praising him as a viewer nor a caster. And Vanity can fall into that slot, but don't sleep on him. And seemingly, especially not when he's got an op.
Yeah, I suppose the crazy thing for me is just seeing how well these 2 AWPers on Chaos are playing in tandem. It's like they have just full control over the map. We're seeing Vanity do it from the likes of CT boxes, and then Steel often just playing aggressively on Catwalk. We saw him get a couple of kills previously on Catwalk and Short, as you said, like just insane to get that second frag. And that was kind of the round winning moment. That was where things started to spiral a little bit out of control for Liquid. What are they going to be able to muster up after that tactical timeout? It doesn't seem like a huge amount has changed. They have Nafly watching the rotation. We saw this earlier with Zeppa getting caught from Naf. So they feel like that's a potential that could come back up again. And meanwhile, getting into ladder room, a Liege spray is good. Taking down the aforementioned Zeppa, retaining 50% of his HP, and now Liquid using that momentary weakness to impose their will on the A site. Post plant coming up, but there's Steel again. One more time, double. It's going to be Grim going down second, hot off the back of getting the bomb planted. But this round looked like it was slipping away up until that double kill. And now Jonji is going for that long flank. And if he can get the drop on Nafly, this round is very much open for Chaos.
Weird one for Naf, though. He's outside of the ramp. So Jonji, he may not suspect this, but Naf, he's not even checked it once. Jonji sees the barrel of the gun, gets the job done. 4 versus 2 left over. Bomb very far gone already. It's a Liege V3 on site, and Chaos. Superb retake in just the nick of time. A 5th round to the board for Chaos. They keep 4 players up on top of it. I want to highlight something that's really been a thorn in their side. This man right here. Steel's opping off of Catwalk. Even when the bomb and the T's are on the opposite side of the map, he's been given a chance here. Whether that's, shutting down the first 2 players who push him, or at this point, just finding complete and total backs turned. Steel on Catwalk has won about 2 to 3 rounds, I would say.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And I wonder if that will, if Moses or if one of the players on Liquid have realized this, if they're going to throw a late smoke onto Catwalk going forward if they hit A, just to try and bypass that from being a problem, because you're spot on. Steel is so very prolific from that position right now. He switched to the AK-47, reading the situation that it could be an all-out B hit, and it's the correct decision, and Leaf is coming in round the back. 3 kills with the AK, just spitting bullets. And there's nothing that Liquid can do about it other than Leaf, who is at least going to put the hurting on the economy a little bit. He also has the bomb. This is important to mention, and he has a fast track straight across to A. So he may very well get this plant down, or perhaps not. John G goes in for the peek, gets him just before he can scurry away safely.
That round's all Steel. Leaf gets the kill, but it's all Steel because you know he called it, and he called Liquid out perfectly. They have a half buy. They go for that big bolstered B hit. You had Steel himself behind the arch, but think about the timing on Leaf. He got down into the underpass, never fought, never showed face, and just waited until he knew Team Liquid were moving forward. Steel sets that up perfectly, completely calls out the eco, and now Zeppa's gonna try his hand at the top of mid here in the final 15th round of the first half. Chaos versus Liquid could end as close as can be, as the heavy favorites are about to finish off on their T side, but Leaf, he gets the best of timing yet again. Stewie 2K fumbling his nades with the bomb on his back as Naf was set up pretty in Palace, but did not anticipate the ramp play, and Steel all the while. Now he starts to make his move behind enemy lines on the opposite side, gets his 13th kill of the half. He is not only performing in terms of frags, but he is calling out the hits, the flanks, and the fury of a multi-kill as Naf will bring this back. Man advantage held onto by Chaos. A little bit of utility here between Naf and Twists. This is the firepower that Canada has to offer. And they find themselves against 3.
They have also spent enough time slowly moving their way onto A, where they forced out at least 1 rotation and potentially a second if Jonji continues to look into connector. It puts more pressure on Leaf to deliver, but now he's moving up on the staircase. Twist spots the head of Leaf, but can't convert for the kill. And now Nafly comes out, but Jonji's position on the staircase too good. And we're going to be 8-7 at halftime.
DreamHack Summer Open 2020, brought to you by the following sponsors: Corsair, Monster Energy, intel. The action will return in just a brief moment. Thank you for standing by. Our halftime music may have put you to sleep, but I guarantee this is a series that'll get you on your feet. It's Team Liquid and Chaos clashing on Mirage, and the score is as close as can be. Grim looking to find heads on A ramp as Chaos set up their play.
Just Vanity watching middle, everybody else from Chaos deciding the A site is where they want to fight and potentially die. They're going to go out on their shields. Nafly may push them one step closer. Oh no, he finally gets the kill, but for a moment I thought he'd whiffed his chance. Twist though, going to put some serious pain down with his USP, and now Grim chips in as well. Stewie going to put it down to Just Vanity, and there's not much that he can muster from Tetris. He has come undone, and Liquid going to be picking up both pistols. 9-7 lead.
This is my fear, Vince. I'm just being real. I'm opening myself up to the world right now. I'm scared that the best efforts of Chaos on the defense will just be completely squashed by an overflowingly successful CT side here from Team Liquid. I mean, they have the ability to lock out some of the best teams in the world. So in the bigger picture, who is Chaos? But at the same time, we had a high hope for the individuals of this T side. They gave us enough to believe, so we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. The action's not quite over. Versus the buy of the CT side, it's just the one kill here for Zeppa. His Glock gets one, and that's all.
I suppose the answer to the who is Chaos is they'll have to tell themselves. Chaos is a team that was 7-1 down in that first half and still battled back to take it 7-8. They're a team that's given themselves chance, that has won their first best of 3 to get to this point in the first place. Had some incredible individual performances on the way there. And Liquid aren't exactly 100% locked in terms of being a roster for a very long period of time with a new coach stepping in. And as good as they are not immortal. They do have vulnerabilities, and Chaos can make the most of that. Elige gets tagged down to 39, but still alive. But I absolutely echo your sentiment. This is going to be a difficult nut to crack if Chaos are going to get themselves back into this match. Elige is going to gift himself away, though, so that's one way back in. They need to convert this. An excellent spray control from Jonji. Holy, that was unreal. And that's what I'm talking about. If they can get that belief, that confidence, Scrawny, this game is going to be a real close one.
I see you, Jonji. You know, I talked about Twist and Naf being the best firepower Canada has to offer, but don't you forget about Jonji. You know, we talked about some of the heavier hitters throughout the series earlier, right? You take Dazzle and you take Moose from our first match. Well, don't forget Jonji, he was on that same roster with them in Rise Nation. That roster just kind of got separated and now finds itself mixed in with new blood and old souls in Steel. Grim and Naf looking to deal some damage because Jonji made it so clean that the T's were having a field day here in the 18th round. Drop a couple of those AK-47s, chip away at the cash, and you'll be a little happier with this result. But also don't forget, they had the edge. And Jonji, just superb shot. How many times is he going to be able to do that? I believe in him, but he's got to prove it. Still, very good spray control. 2 quick headshots, executing the players underneath Palace. So, of course, the A site crumbled once he got them. 4 survivors at the end of this one. Ooh. Yeah, Naf has to let it slide. So they are within 2. They're within spitting distance of Team Liquid. Double digits on the cusp. But this kill right here versus Elige, that's just a great setup. You don't anticipate many players being posted on the pillars of the fence. And then Jonji, really the difference maker.
Indeed. Elige, from that angle, you're expecting maybe to get peeked from Catwalk, but not on top of the pole. So, unfortunate, but Chaos, they'll definitely take that opportunity, and they're going to try and run with it here. Stewie behind the smoke, slight gap in it towards the left-hand side. If he can hear footsteps, he may wide swing that. We know Stewie has no problem pushing through smokes. The smoke criminal for a reason, as he looks to steal this round away from Chaos, who are still perched in middle. Plenty of funds. Even if they do concede this, they will be straight back into another buy. But they want to get this one done flawlessly. Smoke deployed. Gonna force out Leaf from his position. But he doesn't have to move entirely away, and he's mainly playing as a scout right now. Plus, they can use him as a late foundation to pivot and spring off if they decide to hit B. But they still need to deal with Grim and Naf, who are sat on the B site.
Very close to the exit of apps as well. Leaf trying to hone in on this. Silence blankets the server. Naf's going to decide to make a move. That should have been heard. Absolutely. Flashbang meant to screw with anybody on the move. Grim, he's still in his position with that MP9. Naf, he gets one. Grim gets the double. Can't quite follow suit onto Jonji. 3 versus 1 now. It's just the bomb planter left over, but Twist far removed from the situation as he dealt with Jonji's last remaining teammate. We saw Jonji with a hard entry get that gun round on the board. Now can he offer us a clutch? He's got Twists coming in from the backside of Catwalk. He's got 2 threats lying await in Marketplace. Oh, it's an instant headshot. And now he's going to play around on the smoke as the bomb's halfway gone. Jonji looking for the ace. 1 bullet could make the difference, but he goes down in smoke, and Stewie finds the defuse.
Hey, Jonji, such a nice try, man. Like, you couldn't ask any more from him. 1v3, 4K, nearly pulled that one off. Played that position to perfection, by the way, and he calculated in his head how long it would take for a rotation to come through A on short, on Catwalk. Notice how he turns around at the perfect moment. That's all in his mind. That's all game sense. That's in-game IQ. So nearly does it. But in doing so, even though he doesn't win the round, look at the economy from Liquid. 2 FAMASes. No money in the bank if they lose this. He may not got the win, but he may have set them up for long-term success. Leaf taking damage, still alive.
Dodging grenades down an underpass. Mid given over yet again. We get that same sort of default being set up towards that B site. Difference being Jonji's not a front runner of it. But they're sussing out the situation and feeling like they favor challenging Naf and Grim. Stewie, he's trying to cheat back to the murder hole, but he's getting caught on the edges of the wall, and that's going to actually delay his rotation. Grim only good for the 1. Leaf, immediate trade frag. Then Jonji, like a landmine, waiting inside of the connector, gets his kill. 4 survivors for Chaos. This is huge. Not only because, as you said, the economy is near non-existent after the fact for Liquid, but there are 4 players up for Chaos at the end of this. They have momentum, Vince, and they absolutely will flex this over the wounded, poor Team Liquid, who will not have much to work with. They're going to try the force, and this is where they have to start relying on that confidence. Remember that they won the Intel Grand Slam in record speed, and that Grim is just 1 player. They still have that 4-man core. A round they shouldn't win, but one you'll never write them off in.
That's it, exactly. 2 players around the $1,400 to $1,500 mark. They had to go for this force, otherwise they're looking at 2 separate ecos in a row. The Deagle, it's labored, but Elige makes it stick. There's another player up here, didn't realize it. And so Jonji will upgrade that MAC-10 to the AK, if he can find it. There we go. And so that early 1-for-1 trade gonna favor Chaos significantly. Just 1 flash remains in the hands of Nafly, who is currently moving back towards the B site. Stewie, with an off-angle approach. The aim punch was brutal. He nearly had that aim on lock, but now Twist gonna pivot round the corner, lands 1 Deagle already, and there's a smoke down there. Nafly gonna make the most of it, pushing through the smoke, able to actually dart out of there straight afterwards. And now they realize, okay, most of the CTs are over on A. Let's just try a hand on B instead. They already have Jonji pushing up. Remember, he's the player that repelled Elige's push up the lower staircase. But they still haven't got through to the site. They need to get a move on.
Jonji being thorough and clearing corners, wants to make sure he can cover that bomb carrier, but sure enough, here come Liquid. 2 players to the marketplace. Naf still over on A site looking for guns. Looking for all the tools that they can use to make this upset happen. You know that... Oh no! Twist just burns himself to a crisp. Jonji, he's going to make the absolute most of the situation. Plays close market door. Suddenly, just like that, it's even 2v2. Jonji catching Grim by surprise. Naf, he has to walk back, and Chaos survive the pistol round from Team Liquid. It looks so dire, and you absolutely know that Steel, with conviction, told them to get the hell out of Connector and rock bomb back to B. Twist standing in a Molotov. You can't explain that, but you take it if you're Chaos. They are now within 1.
No, you really can't. I mean, it was clearly already spreaded. He walked into it. It's not as if it just spread on the last tick or something like that. Like, he literally walked. I can only assume that maybe a call came through, that he was about to get peeked, and so he was so preoccupied with that potential peek that he kind of ignored the molly. But that was a 2v3 clutch, and considering one player was up close, that would have been a 2-player wrap onto Grim. That would have probably been the round done. But instead, Team Liquid, with just an AK-47 at their disposal, going to have to repel a fast A hit. The crossfires are good. It will be Chaos pushing into the site where the bulk of those players are. A Naf, valiant attempt, but he puts it down to a 2-on-1. Grim with the CZ, going to be doing significant damage, but not yielding a kill out of it. Goes aggressively and gets punished, and we're tied up. It's 11-11.
And now Chaos, now they're getting pumped, man. They could smell the victory here on Mirage. Don't want to get too ahead of yourselves. I better still see those corpse sprays when you start losing rounds. Because that kind of energy, oh, it can be turned against you. But right now, Jonji, he is the man of the match. 24-14. Nafly, the only AK. And I mean, the ball's on Chaos to sprint into that A site, knowing they had the better buy and thinking that even with one AK, they could just flex their way through. Naf almost made them pay the price for such an assumption. We're right back into the real gun rounds. 11 rounds apiece.
A gun round that leaves Liquid with little room for maneuver, though. No kits in play. No head armor. Not that it's really an issue against AKs and the AWP, but they've really gone for that firepower of the M4s. Molotov whiffs. That's significant. Allows the leash to go in for a peek, and he's going to make the most of that. One seemingly small mistake is going to cost them so much, and it was nearly too dear a price. But Leaf holds on with 34 HP, a 1-for-1 trade, and now Chaos going to start to make a move outside onto A. Player in the ninja spot is going to be up against them. That is Twist, who's waited long enough to allow the T's to walk into his trap, and Twist is spinning, pivoting in for a 3K. Makes them all disappear, and Liquid regained the lead. Beautiful work from Twist.
Big play. We're looking at the individuals to shine. Russell Van Dulken from the mid of A. I mean, just catching the timing on all of them. Steel, he couldn't do anything with that smoke in his face. So I talked about Jonji being the man of the match, but just as quickly as I can say that, Twist submits his name to the competition. He is now at 21-15. Stewie trying to play catch up here towards mid. Rapid approach from Steel on the MAC-10. He's looking to emulate Art, but he gets caught off. Stewie finds him with just his gun sticking through the smoke. Never stood a chance. And Zeppa just as quickly looks to take the place of his fallen captain. Leaf inside of the connector. 2 teammates just behind him. Never going to be an easy entry. Twist just pops the head off the first one. Vanity no longer looking so good. The defense looks to hold strong here. There's plenty of time. Great Molotov damage. Leaf, he got stuck on top of the boxes, and that chips away half his health. Zeppa just missed his mid-window jump. They are completely corralled through connector.
It'll be Liquid herding the sheep into a massacre. And Stewie 2K looking to be the butcher of the A side. Gets the one. Is repelled instantly. And now the last bastion of hope, the safeguard, the protector of that bomb plant, Jonji, The player right now that you'd want from Chaos in this position cannot muster up enough strength to repel the push. 13-11. Seems like Liquid have got back into the zone, and the economy for the T's is a little bit rough. But there was the moment you were talking about where Steel maybe overestimating his coverage from that smoke. It was a freebie for Stewie, and they ended up converting it. It's an awkward position for Chaos now, though. What do they feasibly do? I would imagine, Scrawny, they're going for a half buy. They can't really justify going all in.
I'm right there with you. Down to see some Deagles. We know Zeppa had something to offer us in the first half with his on these sorts of rounds. Steel, utility, that makes sense. Try to set up the stars. Vanity's going to go for some as well. Drops the Mac 10 to Zeppa's armor. Oh my God, I'm trying to piece this all together, dude. The variables flying through the screen. Where are we left with here, okay? AK on Zeppa. Mac 10 for Jonji. 4 to 5 Kevlar. Leaf is worse for wear, but he must be that op investment. Dude, by the time they stop buying Vince, we've got low money here.
Yeah, this is a 4.
Oh, and
I'm
Leaf
really
comes
confused.
in late. All right. See, I should have just waited until all the decisions were made, and then it would have been way more obvious.
Yeah, and even then it was a late buy, right? Like, it almost seemed like there was a bit of indecision in play. I would be very curious to hear the comms on that, but Chaos have gone for a force. Doesn't matter how they got to this point, they now have to make it work, and it's only going to include the 1 AK. And Steel on a Deagle, they're going to be looking to press aggressively. That Molotov gets blocked by Grim, who nearly doubles up with the spray. 3 HP for Zeppa, 2 HP for Jonji. But they're still getting kills, and that's the important part of this puzzle. Elige now, though, holding the line, and there's not many people on the planet that you'd like in that position, more so than him. But Vanity making sure he keeps this dream alive. It's a 1v1, and the pistol's so close to taking the life of Elige and getting Chaos across the finish line, but instead the force buy runs into a brick wall.
A heartbreaking situation, but props to Elige for holding his own. I mean, first of all, Grim. Guy nearly does plus 300 damage. Just so close were 2 of those T's left over. Steel gets that hard double entry to make it back near even keel. Elige deals with Jonji, who's trying to run him down with the Mac 10. He knows, Vanity, he knows that Elige is lit, thinks he can finish it with the pistol, and in so many situations that would have been enough. But you're trying to chase one of the best players in North America. And Elige, man, like a diamond, made under pressure, holds the line on that B bomb site, denies Chaos their 12th round, which would have left Liquid strapped for cash and only 1 point in the lead. Now Chaos has to face an awful reality. Their buy is atrocious. And Twist, making quick work of these T's. They keep giving him peeks, and he topples them one by one. Stewie connects the op shot. The 4v2 is where we're left, and Steel's scout goes down empty-handed. Vanity, beautiful Deagle, but he never even gets a chance to shoot.
If only skins equated into rounds, maybe Chaos would be a little bit closer, Scrawny, but unfortunately that's not how it works. Instead, Liquid have themselves 4 map points on the choice of Chaos. And it's going to be a worrying sign for the T's right about now. They are at least able to rummage together a goodbye for the last round, but it could be goodbye for the map if they don't make this one stick. Stewie with the Orcs, going to get pressured sooner rather than later. They're going to just open the floodgates, push through one by one, but the massacre is upon us. They're cultivating carnage, and Liquid imposing their wrath on Chaos. It's not looking good, and they're going to go down. It ends up going the way, convincingly, of Liquid in the end. But I will say, to Chaos's credit, Scrawny, there were moments there where I thought this actually could go their way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they lose by 5 rounds, Vince, but I don't think it takes a genius to pick out 5 of the rounds Liquid won where Chaos absolutely had a chance. And we never came into this series thinking Chaos were the favorites, but rather just real contenders. And they proved that to us. That map was close, and that's excellent for Chaos because they're punching way above their weight. We'll have the analysts to unpack Mirage after a break, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
close series have been the name of the game today, and this final match of the day is no different. 16-11 in the favor of Liquid. They'll be taking the map pick of Chaos, which leaves us at the doorstep of Inferno. But before we do that, we have got to break down this map. And Christine, you've got to be pretty confident if you're Liquid going forward.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it did get close though. We gotta admit that first half 8-7, that's not too shabby for Chaos. Certainly going into that second half, it did look a lot easier. I mean, come on, Twist, he had himself like a CSGO movie, almost towards that A site, round after round, multi-kill after multi-kill. I do think that Chaos, their spacing, it was a little bit meh. I do think that they could have put a little bit more pressure on Twist, not allow him to have so many multi-kills, but all things considered, 8-7, 16-11 wasn't too shabby for Chaos.
Yeah, definitely not, considering they definitely weren't the favorites coming into this matchup. But I mean, Connor really did call it at the beginning of the game. Twist, he was saying he has this feeling in his belly that, you know, Twist is just going to be popping off. And as you can see from the scoreboard, he definitely did that. But we were mentioning beforehand, Alex, I feel like the cards maybe felt a little bit rough for the side of Chaos because they did have some star-studded moments, didn't they?
Oh, okay, sorry about that. So yeah, on the T side for Chaos, things got a little bit shaky for them. They had some decent plays overall, but the CT side was kind of led by Steel, and I don't mean that just in terms of in-game leading, but I actually noted every time they won a gun round against Liquid, where Liquid had full firepower, it was off the back of Steel finding a lot of really timely multi-frags with his AWP. So for Chaos, that it looks like a couple of their players did show up on the T side the second half, but for all of your CT sided success to be off the back of your in-game leader, who's not necessarily supposed to be your top fragger, it's just a little bit worrying moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what goes on, rather, in our second map, which will be Inferno. But before we delve into that, Maui, you've got a moment that you kind of want to break down for us.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to show how Chaos kind of forced the hand of Liquid. So this is going to be a mid control coming out from Chaos. It's pretty standard, all things considered, but you could see that this was when Chaos was coming back into the game, that Liquid was more or less letting them into it. Look at the mid control that's being taken right now. So many players right now from Chaos here fighting this mid control, smokes towards window. Jonji will be throwing a smoke towards top connector and slotting himself over there. And you can see that the split will be coming out towards this B bomb site. And all in all, this was when Liquid kind of cooled off. They felt like, I think in the middle of this game, they thought they were feeling a little bit too comfortable with their positions. And after a while, Chaos started showing that, hey, if you let us run our game plan, we can take advantage of that. So full B split comes out. Players from apartments and ladder room coming out. Jonji with his hard lurk towards connector, taking down a leash. All in all, you could see that Chaos here, they really did actually force Liquid to change up their plan. They couldn't just play back. It wasn't just the Liquid show all over. It was a close game.
Yeah,
and as we can see here,
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, just really highlighting the frags here, just how every player from Liquid was under so much pressure throughout this round.
Yeah, and that's something that you were particularly highlighting, Christine, as we were saying, you know, it did fall in the favor of Liquid, but that didn't mean that Chaos were down and out. But we're now going to be moving into Liquid's map pick, which will be Inferno. So from your perspective, Christine, what do Chaos need to be doing going forward?
Attacking that B, hit that B over and over and over again, because as I mentioned, Stewie, he seemed to be having not the best time towards that B, and it seems to be, I don't want to say pattern, but I do think every team on Inferno should be attacking that B all the time anyway, so that's what I'm expecting here, a lot of action towards that banana.
Well, there's going to be a lot of action ready to ensue. We are almost ready to jump into map number 2. It's going to be Inferno, and this decides who is going to be going through. Let's see.